So not only did we get the pleasure of episode 1 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, drop onto Apple TV today, we also got episode 2 as well. Episode 2 is entitled Departure. Here on out, they will be on a weekly basis. So episode 1 was very good. Is this episode a departure from that? Let's find out. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my review series for Monarch Legacy of Monsters, the TV series set within the confines of the Monsterverse, brought to us by Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers. The film series that is about Godzilla, King Kong, etc, etc, all of those titans. And yes, this episode here, now at the end of the last episode we left off with one of the main characters in a bit of trouble, Dr. Keiko Mira. She seemed to fall to her death, or so it would seem. But did she? Do we find out in this episode? No, we don't, because we jump back in time again to 1952 in Manila, and we are introduced to Shaw yet again a bit earlier on, and this episode delves into his first meetings with Dr. Keiko Mira. He's assigned to basically be security for her while she's investigating these readings of these high readings of radioactivity. Unsure where these readings have originated from, it leads them deep into the heart of the Philippines, into some of the islands, where they actually meet up with Randar, Mr. Randar, the fella that was introduced as part of the team in the first episode. It's their first meeting with him as well, and he goes off with Keiko Mira to investigate because he's got some readings of his own. He's a cryptozoologist. He investigates and studies animals that aren't meant to be alive, shall we say. And this leads them to finding a boat, a World War II boat, a boat that was sunk 5,000 miles away from Pearl Harbor in 1943, the USS Lawton. And as it turns out, Randar was a member of the crew of this vessel. At the point of sinking, he was the only survivor. So this ship has now travelled 5,000 miles from where it sank and is sat inland, and they investigate this. They go into this ship to try and figure out what's going on, only to discover some slime, some fresh slime, fresh eatings, shall we say, and this leads to them seeing a titan, a giant bat type of titan that they perceive as being more of a dragon, because that's what the cultures say it is, a dragon. Yeah, and while this is all going on, this is intercut with your storyline that's set in 2015, a year after the Godzilla attack, and this is with the other character of Kate. Now she's being pursued by Monarch, by the fella that was introduced in the previous episode from Monarch. They want the files because when they opened up the files, it pinged a message to Monarch that these files have been opened up. So they go in the hunt of these files from her and her half brother, and this leads them on a journey where they actually come in contact with Shaw. This being the Kurt Russell version of Shaw, the older version of Shaw, who we come to find out is actually being held prisoner of sorts by Monarch. Not that he's being held prisoner, but he's being monitored. He's got an ankle bracelet on, and he obviously knows their father. He knows of their father. He knows of their mother and all this sort of stuff because of his past and what's going on there. And we come to find out that the father was lost on an expedition in Alaska. This is Kate's father. But a body was never recovered, a body was never found. So sure, Kurt Russell sees this as being a bit of a dodgy goings on with Monarch, and to find out the truth they have to make a decision there and then. He cuts off his ankle bracelet for them to depart and go on this journey of discovery about the father. And that's what this episode is all about. Now this episode is somewhat lighter on monster action than what the first episode was. The first episode was very light, and with the exception of the giant bat dragony type thing that we see towards the end, there's a couple of quick flashes of Godzilla where Kate is having these flashbacks to the events of the 2014 Los Angeles attack. That being said, this program, being at about 50 minutes per episode, 45 minutes, it does a fantastic job of carrying the narrative without relying on having to give you monster excitement episode by episode. There's enough intrigue, and the fractured nature of the storytelling, or the non-linear nature of the storytelling from back in the 50s, is enough to definitely keep you coming back for more, to keep you asking what's going on, what's happening with these characters, what happened to this character, because the program has gone about setting these characters up in a fantastic way. They're all intriguing, they're all interesting, they're all very well written. Again, the production on the program looks fantastic. It looks worthy of the film's production. It certainly does. So we're given this story that is intriguing enough without the special effects, without all the big hoo-ha of the monster attacks and all this sort of thing. Obviously, that will come later on. But you know, hats off to the show for doing what they're doing with the writing. It's nice to see a human element in the stories. You know, a much needed in-depth human element given to us with these characters, with what's going on, with the effects that it has had on their lives, the secrets that they've held for all this time, and all that sort of stuff. So again, coupled with episode 1, watching the two of these back to back, it's a joy. It's a joy. It's a fantastic visit to this world, and I highly recommend it. I've got no issues with this show whatsoever at the moment. It looks great. It's well written. It's intriguing, and if the third episode was up now, I'd be watching it straight away. I most certainly would. I want to know what's coming. I want to see more. I'm left wanting more, and for a show to do that these days, that's fantastic. So have you seen this? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on these first 2 episodes. Or will you be catching it later? Let us know. And I'll see you, well, I will be back next week for episode 3 as well. Of course I will. Why not?